has informed the public of several and the Student Unification Party has condemned recent wave of violence in the country. These plus many more developments all coming up on today's edition of KMTV News Today. Keep watching. We begin the program on Capitol Hill, where heated outbursts on Tuesday ensued between Representative Yeke Kolba and Dixon Sibo, both of Moserado County. It comes after Representative Sibo alleged that securities of Representative Kolba had gone before the House chamber to declare war at the Capitol. Here is a scene from Capitol Hill.
Where you come from? What they come from? You don't know who come from? You saw the man.
He not gonna be in here.
He not gonna be where? Where is all the people? Nowhere. He can never go there. Let's make him go there. They make him go there. They make him go there. They make him go there. You don't go there. The man will not go there. I'm crazy. They will not go there. No man they go. They go one point problem. They don't go nowhere.
You guys are wrong. You guys
are wrong. Go for it. What you came and put on the Go for it.
Let's see whether we're not have second. That nonsense we did with why can't have it wrong? What if you're not? I said people to me that go shit they coming in the boat right now. They will have to go down. I just get it from there.
Are you going for me? I was here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen to the chief.
Listen, this place is a sacred law. You understand me? It's a sacred law. If you come here have rules in this particular place, and I have understood that you came here talking about weapons. Yes, this is what I understand. Listen, let me be very frank with you. This is a sacred, I continue to tell you, this is the legislative branch of government. And this is the House of Representatives. Now, right now, you somebody allow people within this corridor. You understand? Because our leadership, we are being lenient. This is why we have people coming within the perimeter. Therefore, we are in charge for security of all the members in this chamber. I am the Sergeant Arm, General Johnson. I am kindly asking you to proceed downstairs. I'm kindly asking you to proceed downstairs.
I can go downstairs now.
For a while. Okay. Okay, let me get by the plan. I'm getting by the plan. Worry, continue. Let me get by the plan.
The alleged producer of the Agricultural Water National Corporation.
You yourself to call about how many? Yourself to call about how many? No.
Did you mention about shooting up in the country?
Did you tell the non-paper that you see John? I love God to what discover my arm. You have to discover my arm.
What did you tell him?
He said, my boy man, I'm going to 9 to be that far in and in the corner, no far in going. I said, but are we a far in go? Is there my level? Who's a far go? He said, oh, you behind me, discover my far in go.
That's what I mentioned.
What's the name, sir?
Did you hear any other thing that prompted you to come upstairs? I mean, to Alex?
I hear a security man on the corner. I'm thinking about anything to protect him. I must do that at home, please.
You have been told by the sergeant that they are responsible to provide security for each and every law member.
No, one for me was here. Hold on. 2 minutes ago, what happened if the police come? What happened if the police come? The police came around. Police will kill you.
Student Unification Party. The Student Unification Party at the State University of Liberia has frowned on series of violence among political parties in Liberia and at the same time called on the government to launch an immediate investigation into the ongoing passport saga to bring the perpetrators to justice. KMTV's reporter Lofty Winaway has more.
The campus-based political group frowned on violence amongst political parties, stressing that every act of violence meted against every citizen of Liberia is counterproductive and has the propensity of creating civil unrest in the country.
So vehemently condemns the growing wave of violence permeating the corridor of the country, particularly among the political actors of the state. It can be recorded that a few weeks ago, at one of the primaries of the collaborating political party on September 6, 2020, in Niba counties, members of the CB got involved into a violent scheme which turned bloody and chaotic. So France on the negative and irresponsible behavioral pattern emanating from people who are yearning from state power and want to see people and all Liberians to desist from all form of violence. We reiterate that these violence actions are counterproductive to the progress of the state and has the propensity to provoke chaos that may relapse our country into civil unrest.
The students group also wants the government to launch a speedy investigation into the passport saga to bring the perpetrators to justice. There have been a series of allegations linking top current and former government officials to the selling of Liberia diplomatic passports to foreigners.
We encourage the U.S. government to continue such action and dig deeper as there are far bigger criminals involved in the passport saga. Then Andrew Wamplo, including former Foreign Minister Bazanga M. Finney, former House Speaker Ellis J. Taylor, Minister of State for Presidential Affairs Natara Mangay, and Chief Executive Protocol Madam Fina Bono, amongst others, that are in the Portrait CDC government. We are calling on President Weah to launch an immediate full-scale investigation into the passport fracas and bring all those involved to justice.
The passport saga has continued to trend for the past week since United States government announced the decision against suspended passport director Andrew Wamplo and his family. U.S. Secretary of State Mark Pompeo on September 10th tweeted that the former passport director Wamplo's involvement in passport fraud undermines the rule of law and was therefore designated ineligible for traveling to the U.S. KMTV News, Lofty Winaway, Monrovia.
A group of citizens today petitioned the legislature on the amendment of the National Social Security and Welfare Cooperation Act to address their welfare. Here once again is Lofty Winaway with this report.
Social Security is said to be the benefits provider, but the doubts remain whether or not the National Social Security and Welfare Corporation is providing the benefits of Liberians, as schools of civil servants on Tuesday gathered at the Capitol building to petition their lawmakers to amend the NASCOP Act in order to address welfare for civil servants in the country.
We are suggesting an amendment to the NASCOP Act to activate the welfare component. Critical areas to consider with management from a special trustee in collaboration with NASCOP. 1. Healthcare and Medicare for citizens within the ages 0 to 5 years and 55 years and above, and persons with disabilities. Subsidized medical insurance for working class or those who voluntarily apply to and contribute. School feeding program for all public schools, kindergarten to 12th grade. Food stamp for senior citizens and persons with disabilities, and other categories and criteria of beneficiary to be determined by NASCOP.
The civil servants who went with a fixed mind also recommended several options for funding to jump-start the process.
We recommend the following possible funding options as a start and can be developed upon or fine-tuned to jump-start the National Welfare Program. 1, the national budget appropriations of 15 million annually. 2, other contributions to NASCOP by employers and employees through monthly payroll deduction to include public servants as seen in the table below. So in the table below, we estimate civil servants at $72,000 for average pay of $150 US, and looking at the welfare contribution, 1% per employee and 2.5% per employer. So we're looking at a total of 3.5%.
The civil servants were assured of government's subsequent intervention by Grand Bassa County District 5 Representative Thomas Goshua, who received the petition on Capitol Hill. KMTV News, Lofty Wenawe, Monrovia.
The lighting of the streets of Monrovia plus other infrastructure developments are nearing completion, that's according to the Executive Mansion. Providing updates on the project, Deputy Presidential Press Secretary Smith Tobin said the testing of the lights will commence today, beginning at the ERW Junction in Pinsville.
We want to tell you that all modalities and resource mobilization for the commencement of the Ganta Tapeta Southeastern Corridor Assets Road Program commenced December this year. The government has secured some funding for the RIA, that's a Roberts International Airfield Road. That corridor, you remember His Excellency the President broke ground for the expansion of the RIA Road project. That road's been there for years. It remains the way it is currently. This administration thinks otherwise, and they've mobilized some resources. We are informed now that they've started again paying people who are in the corridor. Monrovia Consolidated Streetlight Project. The first phase of that project will be inspected on today by the Minister of State and his team. We told you some time back that the first phase starts from ELWA Junction. It's going to move straight to the SKD Boulevard intersection, both sides of the road. If you've gone along the Pinsville area in the last few days, you see the change with the planting of those poles and the connection of those lights. Those lights are not solar lights. The lights that will be placed along the street are not solar lights. The first phase that I've started comes on Thursday, on October 1. The President will switch on those lights on the 1st of October. The Johnsonville Road will recommence. They are now deploying earth-moving equipment. The contractors and the engineers have started the redeployment of their machines. The commencement of that project will start from the dry rest market end, and we are informed that it starts in October.
The Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas over the weekend ended its 6th national convention. This time around, it was done virtually and afforded a platform for diaspora Liberian journalists to discuss with their counterparts in Liberia, coupled with other stakeholders, about the plight of the media landscape and democracy under the Weah-led government. Here is a report compiled by Nathan Charles and voiced by Lofty Wenawe.
The discussion was fruitful and well attended by scores of former and current journalists from Liberia. The 6th National Convention of AJA was held under the theme, "The Media, the Rule of Law, and the Culture of Impunity." AJA President Joe Mason said this year's convention theme was based on the current reality unfolding in Liberia.
Too often, ethics, principles, and professionalism are sacrificed on the altar of survival. Many professionals are also fleeing the profession for other careers which pay better. This is a situation that deeply concerns our job and one that should claim the attention of pro-democracy organizations and all stakeholders. Media professionals must earn livable wages and other benefits commensurate with their qualification.
In his brief remarks, the president of the Press Union of Liberia, Charles Coffey, said Under the Coalition for Democratic Change government, the rule of law is not observed.
All of us are aware that elections globally may have the propensity to instill discipline in the country by changing one leader to another or create confusion. So it is important that all of us in the media make sure we hold those who govern us accountable.
Also making remarks at the ceremony, Councillor Siri Jones, a legal-minded lawyer, recommended the legislation of an independent regulator or commission established to issue media practitioners and entities licenses.
Why are politicians who are owners of media houses using and expressing derogatory, debasing, and offensive statements against each other with impunity? This is because, notwithstanding the protective and supportive laws provided in the Constitution of Liberia, guaranteeing the right to the free exercise of certain liberties, there is no satisfactory mechanism for the scrutiny of potential journalists and media personnel and the proper sanction against those who violate.
In a more fiery message, Nobel laureate Lehman Gbowi described Liberia's democracy.
Today, it isn't easy to describe what exactly Liberia has in terms of government. Thanks to Finance Minister Twer, I know that they're toying with the idea of a benevolent dictatorship. But for a lack of a better word, I would describe our idea of current governments as, or our current governance system as the pregnant rat democracy. And this is coined by me. Bite and blow. One day there seemed to be real interest in the people, especially during election cycle, and then another day, a total lack of interest.
Also speaking for the first time at Archer's convention was Professor of Minnesota State University, Amy S. Hewitt, who called on the media to flag the issues affecting the disabled and modify storytelling format for people with disabilities. A professor at the University of Liberia Mass Communications Department, Uriah Stogart, spoke of robust plans by the UU administration to offer specialized training for practicing journalists at the entity, as he outlined the constant harassment of Liberian journalists by the state securities. This report was completed by Nathan Charles and I.M. Lofty Wenawe for KMTV News.
Administrators of the Simafi Lutheran High School are calling for assistance from the government and humanitarian organizations to help rebuild the school after a fire disaster on Sunday destroyed offices and equipment on the school campus. Established in 1996, the school currently provides quality education for over 250 students and has graduated thousands of students over the years. As investigation into the incident continues, KMTV Ayeson Yiba reports.
The Simafi Lutheran High School is among several schools that are offering quality education for many students in the Painesville belt. Sadly, the school was on early Sunday morning gutted by fire. Connected to the Liberia Electricity Corporation power line, the school has for the past 3 months been disconnected from the LEC up to the unfortunate situation, thus ruling out electrical fault. Joe Y. Moluba is the registrar of the school.
I was called around 1:45, but then when I was called, I was only told that the whole school has been gutted with fire. But then I would think which side, and somebody told me, "Oh, from your side, the registrar and me." And the first information that I got, that the entire building has gutted with fire. So I was thinking, but where the fire came from? But then the community assessor, they don't know, and nobody knows exactly, because I was now on the scene. I said this morning I just came to be able to see some of those areas. As you can see, this is the registrar office. Those cabinets you see, so there we have recent documents for students for this academic 2019-2020. I just completed it, especially for the 12th grader in our parts.
Church officials, including Dr. Kimeti Johnson, parish council, students, and community dwellers all troop at the school facility to get a glance. To what extent is the damage? Joe Moluba once again.
Well, this has set us back because, as we all know, we are climaxing the 6th grade to 9th grade on Saturday. Just unfortunate for us now, where will the children come to be able to complete and get all their things ready for them to go to other places, especially for those of our 12th graders only waiting to hear the result from WATS, which qualify them to be eligible for graduations or whatever it is. But for now, this is what has happened. It's so unfortunate for us. We don't just understand what has happened.
As investigation into the matter is ongoing, Joe warns.
As you see up to now, this is the urgency. We need people to really come in to help us, especially what has happened. I, as a registrar, I'm calling on people to come to our rescue so that we will be able to have complete and give the other students so that they'll be able to have their document to continue for the next academic. Yeah, that's what we can do. Appeal to people to come to our rescue.
The biggest question remains, how can students' document and other information of the school be retrieved? Ayesin Yiba, KMTV News, Painesville.
Well, with that development, that's how we go home on today's edition of KMTV News Today. But before going, here once again are stories that made the headlines. Arguments today ensued between Representative Yege Kolba and Jason Sibo over a alleged security threat from bodyguards of Representative Kolba. The streets of Monrovia are expected to be lighted soon as Executive Mansion provides update on the project. And the Student Unification Party at the University of Liberia has fought on series of violence in the country. We say many thanks to you for always joining our news broadcast from across the globe. On behalf of the entire news team here, my name is Anthony Kokoi. Do have yourself a pleasant good night from Monrovia.